Hey guys, this is Q, and I am here at Greatest, and this store has been voted the #1 gun store in Indiana by the members of Indiana Gun Owners.
Thanks, Ingo.
Ingo. I'm here with Mark, who is the manager here and a member of Ingo. He's shooting 521. And what I'm going to do today is, right now we know that the gun population is growing, gun ownership is growing, but a lot of people have a fear of guns. But what we're trying to do is show people that it is not the average ordinary person who desires to carry a gun just to be really bad. People own guns because they want to defend themselves and their families. So what I'm here to doing today is walking through sort of the process with Mark. And I'll just pretend like I'm just a normal everyday person off of the street who's interested in the gun and coming in here to Greatest to buy something. Hey Mark, I've been on this site called Ingo, and I've been looking a whole lot about what they're doing with guns, and I'm interested in getting a gun, and I don't know what I want at this point.
What kind of shooting experience do you have?
A little bit. You know, I was in the Army, but you know, I didn't really do a lot in there, so and I was handguns.
Okay. In your looking online or in gun magazines or whatever gun shows, have you gotten an idea about maybe some brands that you want to look at or some features that you want on the gun? Manual safeties, high capacity mags, you know, specific things that we can use to kind of narrow things down.
I've been seeing a lot about Glock, SIGs, and 1911s of various sorts, so I think that's the way.
What we've got with those three, we're kind of comparing apples to oranges because all three of the guns are very different in the way that they operate. I'll get out some examples here and we can show you some different things. What we've got here, first of all, is the SIG Pro SB 2022. This one happens to be a 9mm. They also make it in 40. This is a traditional double-action pistol, which means that for the first shot, your trigger pull is long and heavy because it has to both cock and release the hammer. After that slide cycles, your hammer is left cocked, which results in a much shorter and lighter trigger pull. So you do have that change from the first to the second and subsequent shots. Very, very well made gun. It's got a steel slide and barrel. Polymer frame keeps it kind of light despite being a full-size gun and having a high capacity. It's still pretty light. Your magazine in the 9mm holds 15 rounds. Has nice high contrast sights on it. Accessory rail under here if you want to mount a light or a laser for home defense, that sort of thing. And this is SIG's kind of entry-level gun, so the price point on it is a lot more reasonable than on a lot of the other SIG models. People usually think high price when they think the name SIG, but the SIG Pro is a very competitive price point as well. Glocks are very, very good sellers for us. We do a lot of business in Glock, a lot of volume. The one I have here is a Model 17, which is our full-size 9mm. They do 3 different frame sizes in 9 as well as in 40 caliber. All those guns are pretty much identical between calibers in a given size, so a lot of the parts interchange and everything between them as well. Glock is probably one of the easiest guns to learn to shoot and shoot well because the trigger pull on the Glock is consistent every time. You don't have that change from the long, heavy first pull to the short second. The Glock trigger is consistent throughout, almost like a revolver. You do have some internal safeties in the Glock that keep it drop safe, also prevent the trigger from being snagged, but it's still a very simple gun to use in that it's point and shoot. All of the safeties in the gun are linked to the trigger pull. If you pull the trigger, the gun will fire. There's not a manual safety that you have to worry about disengaging. Like the SIG Pro, this is a polymer frame gun which keeps it very light. It also has an accessory rail for underbarrel attachments, 17-round magazine. And then in the 1911, the one that I have here is a Rock Island in 45. Now the 1911s are a single action gun, which means that prior to firing that first shot, you have to manually get that hammer back somehow. You can either do that by thumb cocking or just in the process of loading. If I had a loaded magazine in, when I rack that slide, that's going to load my first round, leave that hammer cocked, and then I'm ready to just apply the manual safety and carry it that way. This gun, as are most 1911s, it's a steel frame gun, so it's a little bit heavier. but it's a very slim design. A lot of people find it very easy to carry despite its weight because of its slimness. Carries 8 rounds in the magazine plus 1 in the chamber in 45. And all of these guns are very close in terms of price, running mid-4s to low 5s for any of them.
All right, Mark, a lot of my friends, they own Glocks, and I had an opportunity to shoot one before. Now, the ones that I've shot were 9mm. Can you tell me a little bit about the difference between bullets?
Sure. The 3 most popular calibers for personal defense in a full-size gun like this would be your 9mm, your 40, and your 45. 9mm has been around for years and years and years, since pre-World War II. The 45 has been around, as long, if not longer. The 40 is a little bit more recent innovation, and what it does is it splits the difference between 9 and 45 in just about every way. Size, power, capacity, price. So it's right down the middle, and it's very, very popular with a lot of law enforcement departments right now are shooting 40s. In a full-size gun, I recommend it. I'm a fan of the caliber. Once you get down into the very, very small guns, the 40 tends to be more challenging to shoot because it's a higher pressure cartridge. So in that case, I would recommend going to a 9 or even a 45 for a little bit lower pressure. It makes the small guns easier to shoot.
Now, I'm interested in carrying a gun,
Okay.
so first of all, can I do that here in Indiana?
Absolutely. Indiana is a shall issue state, which means that if you do not have any felony convictions or anything on your record that would make you ineligible to own a firearm, you can apply for and receive your license to carry handgun. In Indiana, they don't make a distinction between open carry or concealed carry. It's just a license to carry, and you can do that however you deem practical. And there's a lifetime permit available, which for a first-time applicant is $125. And then there's a 4-year permit as well, which I believe is $45.
How long does it take to get that?
Depending on how you go through the application process, it can take anywhere from 3 weeks to about 60 days.
So can I start that paperwork here?
No, you have to do that online through the Indiana State Police website, and then go to your local police department to get fingerprinted.
All right, Mark, I think I don't like the weight of this one. I like the way it feels,
Okay.
but I don't really like the weight of it. So should I get this one anyway?
You got to go with what feels best to you. Buying a gun is like buying a car or any other product, in that there's a lot of personal preference involved. I mean, all 3 of these guns are great guns in their own regard, but what works for me, what I might be different from what you might like. So you got to go with kind of your gut. What feels good to you, which one has the features that you're looking for, which one's at a price that you're willing to pay, and go from there.
So if I carry this one and I carry it ready to fire just in case I need it, I have to carry it how, on safe?
You would have to carry it with the hammer cocked and then the safety applied. That's called cocked and locked, and that's how that gun is designed to be carried. So then when you draw the gun, you sweep the safety off, you're ready to shoot.
I don't think I want to deal with that.
Okay.
Do you have to do it? Does this have I don't see a safety on this Glock.
Well,
so.
on the Glocks, the safeties are all internal to the gun. So the one that you can see is right here in the face of the trigger. And what that does is that prevents the trigger from being pulled if it's snagged or bumped.
Okay.
When I go to fire this gun and I put pressure on the face of that trigger, that deactivates the safety, and as that trigger comes back, the other 2 safeties inside the gun are automatically deactivated, which allows the gun to fire. So there are 3 safeties in there, but there's not a switch or a decocker or a button or anything that I got to worry about in order to shoot that gun.
So you can pull the gun and fire.
Absolutely. It's very, very simple. Think of it like a flat revolver. Revolvers don't have any safeties either. It's just your trigger pull that's keeping you safe.
Now, the only thing that really gets me about this one is that you really can't see anything. I like the 1911 because you can see the hammer.
Okay, you like the exposed hammer?
I like that.
Okay.
So, and this one has it. So is this thing right here the safety?
Well, that's not a safety. That is your slide release, and then the one down below is your decocker. So when you're actually shooting the gun, if my hammer is cocked and I want to, say, go forward to change targets or something like that, what I would do then is I would bring this lever down here. That would lower the hammer without firing the gun, which returns you to that longer, heavier trigger pull.
Okay.
So that renders it safer, but if I pull this trigger, it will still fire. Okay? So it's a decocker, but it's not a safety.
So if I'm carrying this then, and there's no safety.
Right, you would carry it with the hammer down. So go ahead and decock it, and that gives you that longer, heavier trigger pull for that first shot. And that's how you would carry that one.
Okay, why can't I just do that with the 1911?
Well, because then you don't have any safety at all, and you've only got about a 5-pound trigger on that gun, so it's much easier to accidentally hit that trigger and set it off, which is why they give you both the grip safety and the thumb safety on that 1911.
Okay, I think this is the one I would like.
Okay. Well, I've got that in both a 9 or a 40, and I've also got another SIG gun we just got in that let you take a look at. You might like this one. It's a little bit fancier. It's a little bit heavier. Well, like I said, we just got it in. And this is the 226 Elite. And so it adds some features on here, like the beaver tail to protect your hand from the slide coming back. It's got night sights front and rear, and those are self-powered glow-in-the-dark sights.
Okay.
I recommend them for a defensive gun because chances are if you need to use this to protect yourself, it's going to be in a period of no or low light. You know, think somebody breaking into your house at 3 a.m., low light scenario, you can pick up your sights easier that way. It's also got nicer grips, and these are interchangeable with any other grip out there. You can go aluminum or wood or rubber or whatever you like. On the SIG Pro, this is a one-piece grip. You've only got 2 options, large or small. You really can't, you know, change them or personalize the gun as much as you can with this.
I read that this is the one that SEAL Team 6 uses, so I should definitely get it, right?
It's very similar, very similar. I mean, they can use, in a lot of cases, whatever they want, but their standard issue sidearm is a variation of the 226.
Okay. I think I'll take this.
Okay, well, let's go on up front. We'll do some paperwork.
Cool.
Okay, do you have a valid Indiana driver's license with your correct address on it?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Why do you need that?
Well, that's part of the 4473 form, the background check process that you need to go through whenever you buy a gun from a dealer. So we'll need some information from you on here. If you haven't filled one of these out before, I'll step you through it real quick. I need you to fill out the front side of the white form here completely, starting up here with your last name first and middle, all the way down. In the top section, spell out everything where they give you room to do so. This box here, you can abbreviate your state. This one is county, not country. In the second section, read and answer the questions yes or no. When you get to the bottom, if you're a U.S. citizen, you can skip 12 and 15. Those are immigration questions that will not apply to you. If you have any other questions, feel free to ask.
11H asks if you are subject to the court order of restraint from harassment, stalking, or threatening. Can I just say no on that?
Well, you have to answer honestly because you know, if it turns out that you answered one of these incorrectly, that is a federal crime. You know, so it's best just to answer honestly. Now, this is a very specific question because it asks if you're subject to a restraining order against a child or intimate partner. So, and this one here asks if you've been discharged from the armed forces under dishonorable conditions. If it was an honorable discharge, that doesn't apply to you. So you can check no there.
Okay.
Okay? All right, we went ahead and phoned your background check in to the FBI, and they have...
To the FBI?
To the FBI, absolutely. They run an instant background check on you, just to make sure you're not, you know, a felon or wanted or anything like that, and that you are able to own a firearm. And they have approved you on that sale, so we're ready to go. All I need to do is take your money, and I will get you out of here. Since you do not have a gun permit, when I send this out of here with you, I'm going to put it in the bag and seal it. You just want to leave it sealed until you get home. You are able to keep the firearm in your home for any length of time and not need the permit. That's your constitutional right. Under Indiana law, you're also able to transport it to or from the range if you're going to practice, as long as the gun is kept unloaded and secured in an inaccessible area of your vehicle. So if you've got a car, make sure it's unloaded, close it in the box, throw it in the trunk. Okay?
Sounds good.
All right.
Hey, thanks a lot.
All right.
Appreciate it.